and on the mainland. 6 of the patients were flown to a burn center in Phoenix, Arizona over the weekend via a C-17 military plane. They're being treated at the Diane and Bruce Hale, Arizona Burn Center, Valleywise Health. Doctors there say victims sustained burns on 45% to 80% of their bodies. All of the victims are intubated and many of them needed emergency surgery before being able to be safely transported.
Most of these patients did not suffer smoke inhalation injuries, so that fortunately is not going to be something. But then the other big thing that we worry about are the psychological aspects of being burned. There's something uniquely and particularly horrifying about being burned, especially from this type of injury. And we anticipate that all of these patients are going to have some adjustment issues.
Doctors say the burn victims may be in Arizona for months. It depends on the extent of their injuries, and some may need care for the rest of their lives. Now to a deadly crash early this morning around 3:30 a.m. A pedestrian was hit in the Pearl City area. Police said a 61-year-old man was driving east on Kamehameha Highway when he hit another man walking in the road. Investigators say he was not in a crosswalk. The driver left the scene but reported the crash shortly after. The victim was taken to a hospital in critical condition where he later died. Investigators say neither speed, drugs, nor alcohol appear to be contributing factors. Congress certified. And in today's Talker, Congress certified President-elect Donald Trump's election win this afternoon without incident. The proceedings were a far cry from what happened 4 years ago today when Trump supporters breached the Capitol in an effort to stop lawmakers from certifying Joe Biden's victory. Natalie Brand reports from Capitol Hill.
Congress formally certified Donald Trump's 2024 presidential victory Monday.
This announcement of the state of the vote by the President of the Senate shall be deemed a sufficient declaration of the persons elected President and Vice President of the United States.
The candidate he defeated, Vice President Kamala Harris, presided over the count. A process steeped in tradition as the electoral ballot boxes made their way through the Capitol to the House floor.
Today, America's democracy stood.
The peaceful proceedings with no objection stand in stark contrast to what happened here 4 years ago when a mob of Trump supporters stormed the Capitol to try and stop the certification of Joe Biden's 2020 presidential win.
We cannot let anyone whitewash what happened here 4 years ago.
Nearly 1,600 people have been charged for their roles in the January 6th Capitol attack. Of those, 1,000 have pleaded guilty and 600 were charged with assaulting or resisting police. President-elect Donald Trump has promised to pardon January 6th defendants.
Democrats say that would be a dangerous endorsement of political violence. Republican lawmakers, meanwhile, are promising to advance President-elect Trump's priorities as quickly as possible.
We've focused on getting President Trump's cabinet up and running quickly by ensuring that his nominees are speedily confirmed.
New CBS News polling shows 4 years later, the January 6th Capitol attack continues to be met with disapproval from a large and bipartisan majority of Americans, though Republicans' disapproval has softened. Natalie Brand, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
Meanwhile, Donald Trump is seeking a stay ahead of his Friday sentencing in the New York hush money case. His lawyers argue the court should vacate the sentencing hearing while they appeal on presidential immunity grounds. The judge in the case, Juan Merchan, had denied Trump's bid to dismiss the case in a ruling last week and ordered his sentencing on 34 felony counts of falsifying business records to proceed. In a statement, Trump spokesperson Stephen Chung called the sentencing unlawful. In a ruling last week, Merchan said he did not plan to jail Trump and was likely to sentence him to an unconditional discharge. Meanwhile, he would remain a convicted felon but would have no other punishment. Canada's Prime Minister Justin Trudeau announced today that he's resigning his office as head of the country's Liberal Party. Trudeau, one of Canada's longest-serving prime ministers, said increasing discontent over his leadership and internal political battles led to this decision.
I care deeply about Canadians. I care deeply about this country, and I will always be motivated by what is in the best interest of Canadians. Despite best efforts to work through it, Parliament has been paralyzed for months. after what has been the longest session of a minority parliament in Canadian history.
The 53-year-old took office in 2015, upending 10 years of Conservative Party rule, but increasingly there have been calls for him to step down within his own party over the rising costs of food, a housing shortage, and a surge in immigration. Trudeau says he will stay on as Prime Minister until a new head of the Liberal Party is chosen, which could take several months. Back here at home, a manhunt is underway following a violent robbery in the parking structure at Aliamanu Center. That's where an 82-year-old man was forced out of his car at gunpoint around 7:15 Saturday morning. According to law enforcement sources, the victim attempted to pry the weapon from the suspect's hand, causing the gun to fire. It's unclear if anyone was hurt. We're told the suspect managed to escape in the 82-year-old's Mercedes. At last check, no arrests have been made. And authorities investigating the deadly terror attack in New Orleans have released new information about the attacker. They say the suspect traveled to the city at least twice before he rammed a pickup truck into a crowd of people. Omar Villafranca has the latest.
The FBI released video over the weekend showing Shamsuddin Jabbar riding a bicycle through the French Quarter last October, 2 months before his deadly terror attack in the same area. He recorded the ride on his Meta glasses, smart eyeglasses with cameras built in, which investigators say he also wore the day of the massacre. Law enforcement added that he went to the city again in November. Additionally, the FBI says it's looking into trips the ISIS-inspired attacker made to Cairo, Egypt, and Ontario, Canada during the summer of 2023.
Our agents are getting answers as to where he went, who he met with, and how those trips may or may not tie into his actions here in our city in New Orleans.
The Bureau also showed these surveillance videos, recorded less than 2 hours before the rampage, showing Jabbar placing a cooler with an improvised explosive device, or IED, on a Bourbon Street intersection. That cooler was later moved to another location by uninvolved bystanders. Another video shows him walking to his truck where he picked up the second cooler filled with explosives and left it just a block away from where he put the first IED. Neither of the devices detonated.
Father, we just lost some loved ones.
On Saturday evening, a vigil was held for the 14 people who were killed. Dozens of others were injured, among them 21-year-old college student Corian Evans.
The only thing that amazed me the most is when I got up off the ground and seeing the body, seeing people struggle to breathe, people choking on their blood, people's legs. That's the main thing that I remember the most.
The trauma.
Yeah.
The President and First Lady are expected to visit New Orleans later on today to meet with family members and also talk security with city officials. And that's important because some of the first Mardi Gras parades are starting today. Not big parades, smaller, the walking type parades. There won't be those big floats, but still those parades will have increased security. Omar Villafranca, CBS News, New Orleans.
And the soldier who died in an explosion of a Tesla Cybertruck at the Trump Hotel in Las Vegas left a note before the attack saying it was a stunt to serve as a wake-up call for the country. Investigators say Matthew Livelsberger, 37-year-old Green Beret from Colorado, had written a list of grievances including political, domestic, and societal issues. He took his own life prior to the blast. The FBI believes the combat veteran was struggling with PTSD and other issues. The public is invited to join friends and family in remembering Hiram DeFries. The 24-year-old was one of 2 commercial pilots who died in a plane crash on December 17th near Honolulu's airport. Funeral services will be held this Saturday, January 11th at 4 p.m. at Punahou School. The attire is aloha wear. And now we head over to Hawaii Island with a live look at Kilauea Halema'uma'u. The eruption that started December 23rd is still on pause today. This is what it looks like right now. USGS officials say the lava stopped flowing in the crater at around 8:40 Friday night. We'll continue to monitor the conditions and bring you any updates.
How's it on this Monday? There's not a lot of rain out there, but this morning, the corner winds are pulling up some moisture around Maui County and around Hawaii Island's leeward sides. That does not represent a lot of rain. More meaningful rainfall, more widespread rainfall expected Wednesday and Thursday. That's about the same time the winds are going to shift. Now today, with the winds continuing to come out of the south, well, the haze and the fog will build. So it's going to be another hazy day today. Humidity levels will be elevated. High temperature running to about 82 today.
And coming up, America honors the life of former President Jimmy Carter. A look at the preparations underway for his state funeral. Aloha and welcome back. Have you seen this woman? Hawaii Island police need your help in finding 31-year-old Jennifer Caspar of Kurtistown. She was last seen on December 26 in the Orchidland subdivision. Police tell us she's considered endangered and may need medical assistance. She is 5'5" and about 120 pounds. Call the number on your screen if you have any information. Over on the Valley Isle, Maui's eviction moratorium will end on February 4th. Because of that, Governor Green is calling attention to Act 202. It's a law that establishes a fair mediation-based process for resolving rent disputes between landlords and tenants. It was signed in July 2024, ensuring that both parties have access to support and resources to address overdue rent without immediately resorting to court action. Starting February 5th, landlords and tenants have the opportunity to engage in free state-funded mediation before filing for eviction motions. Oahu residents are invited to participate in the next town hall meeting to discuss proposed sewer fee increases that are set to take effect July 1st this year. The next one is happening today at Kalani Ane'ole Beach Park from 5:30 to 7 p.m. In what would be the first fee hike since 2016, the series of annual increases would eventually raise bills by 115% over a 10-year period. And a groundbreaking for a new affordable housing project on Oahu is set for this week. The 90-unit project will be located at 1568 Pensacola Avenue. The ceremony will take place at 9 a.m. this Saturday. Honolulu Mayor Rick Blangiardi and Governor Josh Green are planning to attend. Americans continue to honor the life and legacy of President Jimmy Carter ahead of his state funeral later this week. Jay Gray has the latest details from Atlanta.
Well, despite rain, it's been hard at times and colder weather here. Crowds continue to gather at Jimmy Carter's Presidential Library in Atlanta to pay their respects to the 39th president. Former President Carter really set the benchmark for service by a president after leaving the White House, and few in or outside the political arena really have come anywhere close to his reach or matching his impact as a global humanitarian, helping the disabled and the needy across the United States and around the world, fighting disease and fighting for democracy and fair elections. President Carter spent most of his life, 80 of his 100 years, in rural Georgia. He lived in the same house that he built with his wife Rosalind in 1962, only leaving there twice, once to spend 4 years in the governor's mansion here in Atlanta, and then 4 years in the White House as well. He was someone who was very active in his faith, someone who spent a lot of time in his community, and he's being remembered for that by so many who say he was really what was best about their state, about our country.
President Carter represented a lot of people, and we were very proud of him. We respected him.
A respect that will follow the former president to Washington. His body will travel to the nation's capital tomorrow. He will lie in state in the Capitol Rotunda ahead of his funeral set for Thursday morning at the National Cathedral. That's the latest from here in Atlanta. I'm Jay Gray, NBC News.
Well, with cold and flu season in full swing, a major retailer issues a recall over medicine. Stay with us. You're watching This Is Now. And still ahead, your 7-day forecast is also coming up.
How's it on this Monday? The light winds persist, and that's why it's still going to be a little bit hazy today. It's going to affect your throat. It's going to affect your eyes. So heads up, especially if you have breathing challenges, stay indoors. Turn the air conditioning on. Now, the southerly flow is bringing up some showers from the south, affecting a handful of leeward spots this morning. We're not expecting significant rainfall. However, on Wednesday, a cold front's going to drop in with trade winds and more widespread showers. Again, Wednesday, Thursday, we are expecting more showers. Now, today, the winds continue to come out of the south, and that's why the skies are hazy, and that's why the fog will persist across much of the state, especially over and around Maui County. So with those corner winds, going to feel a little bit sticky. We'll have those showers this morning, not a lot of rain, and so a few showers this evening. But for the most part, those mostly dry conditions will persist. Now, Heads up, we got a high surf warning posted for most north and west shores. Swells will be building from this afternoon all the way through Wednesday. It's going to be big, it's going to be dangerous, life-threatening wave heights, 20 to 25, and with the light winds today, it should be good for the big wave surfers and only for them. Otherwise, it's going to be a life-threatening situation. So we got large surf today, tomorrow, and on Wednesday, right? We got southerly winds today. Tomorrow, the southerly winds pick up. And then the trade winds come in with a cold front Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Thursday being the day when we expect the most rain, mainly for windward areas. Then as we head towards the weekend, drier conditions take over.
Guy? Meanwhile, a consumer alert: Costco is recalling cold and flu medicine because it may have been contaminated. According to a post on the Costco website, a recall has been issued for Kirkland's signature severe cold and flu plus congestion medicine that was purchased between October 30th and November 30th of last year. A recall was issued out of an abundance of caution due to potential foreign material contamination. There is no indication that anyone has become ill from this recall thus far, but still, Costco is asking customers with this product to return it to the store for a full refund. Icy conditions caused this tractor trailer to jackknife on a Kansas City highway Sunday. Take a look at this. Millions of Americans are on alert today as winter storm systems bring snow, ice, and frigid temperatures across a large swath of the country. The National Weather Service says parts of the Midwest could see 15 inches of snow with blizzard-like conditions. All Smithsonian museums in the Washington area and the National Zoo will be closed today due to the snow. And now to how this weather is affecting travelers coming back from their holiday break. Let's go to Chris Van Cleve at Chicago's O'Hare International Airport.
Snow, ice, frigid temperatures, and blizzard conditions wreaked havoc on the roads across the Midwest, just as millions were trying to make their way home at the end of the long New Year's Day holiday weekend.
Man, it's ugly out here, real ugly.
In Kansas City, Missouri, icy roads forced stranded drivers to abandon their cars and trucks. The treacherous conditions sent big rigs jackknifing, and a Kentucky state trooper was hurt after his patrol car was slammed into during the storm. From the air, a blanket of white approaching Louisville, Kentucky, while on the ground, flights were largely halted. The storm delayed over 8,500 flights and canceled more than 1,800 others, mostly to and from the Midwest. Zoe Hoskinson is trying to get home to snowed-in Kansas.
I think I'd be pretty upset because I'm trying to get home. We got pets at home, so we got to go check on them. But, I mean, delays suck no matter what.
With states of emergency stretching from Kansas to Virginia, the race was on to get out before the storm hit Washington's Reagan National Airport.
We were supposed to fly tomorrow, but we were not sure that that would happen. So we moved up our flight, and looks like clear skies, and fingers crossed it all works out.
Airlines have put travel waivers in place which allow people to easily change their flights to get out of the path of the weather. Still, starting Monday morning with more than 1,300 cancellations, this will be the first big test for the airlines in 2025, and it comes as the TSA has heightened airport security nationwide in the days leading up to the presidential inauguration. Chris Van Cleve, CBS News, Chicago.
and welcome back. It's time for some good news now, and this is some good news for people who maybe hate doing some chores around the house. If you're bad at putting your socks in the dirty laundry basket, for example, now you don't need to. What's claimed to be the world's first vacuum cleaner with an intelligent robotic arm has been launched. Check that out. The machine can identify small objects like socks, shoes, and towels and put them away for you. The robot cleaner is powered by artificial intelligence and can be operated by a phone app. It has also been trained to recognize 108 different obstacles around the home, like loose cables, and can avoid and clean around them. No pricing has been released, but the company says it will ship by the 1st of June this year. Wow, technology in 2025. Meanwhile, on Hawaii Island, Hilo's Panaewa Zoo has a new hungry baby sloth today. The two-toed sloth was born around 6 weeks ago to the first-time mom, Carrie. The zoo says its gender and name have not been determined yet, but it appears to be bonding well with its mom. The baby sloth will hang on to its mom for about a year, munching on all the delicious leaves it can get its hands on before setting out on its own. So cute. And an adorable pygmy hippo at the Metro Richmond Zoo in Moseley, Virginia had its first swim accompanied by its mom after the water level was lowered for the little hippo's swimming debut. The calf was born on December 9th to parents Iris and Corwin, weighing just 15 pounds at birth. The hippo calf was named Poppy after a public poll that received votes from 165 different countries. That is so adorable. Nothing like ending on some good animal news today. Stay tuned. Be sure to tune into our later editions of Hawaii News Now for more news and local weather. But let's end today on this beautiful live look thanks to our friends at the Waikiki Aquarium. This live cam provided by University of Hawaii shows us a gorgeous afternoon here in Waikiki. 82 degrees. It's a great day to head out to the beach. Mahalo for tuning in, and aloha.